What's going on, everybody? America Football Network here with another video today. And today we're bringing you our Notre Dame versus Navy preview prediction video. But before we get started, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Comment those thoughts and opinions down below. Let me know what you think of this game, what you think will happen, just your general thoughts on it. This is the first game of the college football season this year. So very excited about that. A great way to start it off back in Ireland again. And that game comes up on Saturday at 2:30 on NBC. Um, so let's look at a little bit of history on this game before we get started. So all-time Notre Dame leads the series 79-13 to 1 against Navy. 79 wins for the Irish, 13 losses, 1 tie. So it's a series that has definitely been dominated by Notre Dame. Navy hasn't fared too well in this series. Last year was a bit of a closer one. Notre Dame ended up winning that one 35-32. It was a game that, Navy was able to keep close and were ahead at one point in the game, I do believe. And so it ended up being a good game, but Notre Dame found a way to win. Navy couldn't quite pull it out. We look at the current win streak. Notre Dame has won the last 5 against Navy. It's been a series that Notre Dame has dominated until 2007. Whenever they lost, Notre Dame had like a 46-game win streak. I believe it was against Navy in 2007 when that ended. So it was a big deal. It was a big streak, very dominated by Notre Dame, and not a very competitive game at all, or a competitive series whatsoever when you look at it historically. But we mentioned, last year was close, 35-32 in favor of Notre Dame. As you can see on the score or on the screen, my score prediction for this year, however, is 41-17. I think Notre Dame gets better offensively. I do think their defense has a few question marks on it for sure, but I think offensively they get better. I think they're going to be more consistent than they were last year. They're not going to have those, weird up and down, crazy games like they had. That they had during last season. I think they will be an improved team, especially when you look at the addition of Sam Hartman. I think that's the big guy. That is the key. They only returned 4 starters offensively, though. I don't like, what they necessarily have at receiver. I don't think at receiver they really have a whole lot. So that will be something to watch in terms of the season, but I don't think that in this game that'll necessarily matter. They returned 7 starters on offense, which is great. You flip to Navy for a little quick preview of them. We have for Navy, they returned 6 on offense, 9 on defense. They have a new head coach, Brian Newberry, his first season at Navy as the head coach and his first season ever as a head coach. Then you look defensively, they return 9 starters. I don't like that they lose the quarterback, and that they're going to have to replace that. So that's going to be something to watch. The fact that they have to, replace quarterback in this system. But, I think that they can be good. I think that necessarily isn't a huge deal. But, let's go ahead and jump into my keys for the game for this one. So for the Notre Dame, we'll start with Navy, actually. We'll start with Navy. For Navy, the 3 keys to the game I have for them. Number 1 is control the clock. You have to be able to effectively move the ball through the triple option against this Notre Dame team. You have to be able to effectively, control the clock and play your style of football, play your way, and be able to dominate that way. That's going to be one of the ways that they get the win in this game, if they're going to win, is by controlling the clock. I think that's the most important factor. Move the ball, keep the clock going, keep the ball out of Notre Dame's hands as much as possible, because that's where they're really going to be dangerous and can really beat you, is when you give the ball to Sam Hartman. Number 2 key to the game for Navy is dominate the line of scrimmage. If you can dominate the line of scrimmage, get push offensively, which I think is definitely possible, because I don't like the weakness that Notre Dame has at the defensive line. So if Navy can get some push on the offensive line, something they were able to do last season against Notre Dame pretty effectively. And that's part of the reason why that game ended up being so close at 35-32. You look, they return every starter on that offensive line except at right tackle. So that is nice for them to return that. But then you look defensively, they returned all three defensive lineman starters. They returned their some of their edge rushers as well at the the kind of linebacker position that's in there. And you look at Notre Dame defensively, they lose 2 of 4 of their pass rushers, their best 2 pass rushers. And then you look at the linebackers, they only return JT Bertrand and Morris Luefu. So that's going to be, that's definitely a place that Navy can take advantage. Offensive line, they only return 3 starters, but they returned the best 2 tackles in the country, and one of the better centers in the country as well. And Notre Dame always has a pretty good offensive line at the least. So I think offensively is going to be tough to get pressure on them. But Hartman's drop back is not very far back. It's maybe 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So you don't really have to get a whole lot of push either to push those guys right back up into his face. So it kind of factors out. I think that offensively Navy can really dominate the line of scrimmage. Defensively, I'm not so sure about that. Number 3 key to the game for Navy is just attack and be physical. Set the tone early in this game. Let Notre Dame know that you're there. You're not afraid of them. That you don't care what they're ranked. You don't care how much they're predicted to win by, that you're there and you're ready to play and you're ready to show out. You got to be physical. You got to hit them hard. And, you got to come to attack. You have to, and, set the tone early in the football game. Let them know what you're about and what you're there for. So those are my 3 keys to the game for Navy. I think if they do that, those 3, they can be, pretty competitive in this game. But then my 3 keys for Notre Dame. Number 1 is get Sam Hartman and these wide receivers going early. Hit Navy with some big plays. Just put them out of the game early. Kind of, like I talked about with Navy's 3rd key, attack and be physical. For Notre Dame, it's to jump out in front and get Hartman going early. Help him get adjusted more into this new offense. Help your offensive coordinator out and some of these new pieces you have offensively, and just get these guys going and let Hartman just drop back and let it loose back there in the pocket and just, go up 21-0 in the first quarter on them. Just go up there and just be explosive. Let your offense go freely and put some points on the board and take this game, right then and there at the beginning of the game. Just go ahead and just kill Navy in the first half, and that'll make it a lot easier for you in the second half. Number 2 is stay focused defensively. Navy runs the triple option. There's always a lot of stuff going on every single play. So defensively, keep a focused mindset. That's my second key, is just to stay focused on the triple option. Stay in your roles. Don't over jump something, but also don't under jump something, playing for something. Just, go where you're supposed to go and play your roles and stay focused on what your job on each play is. And, because that triple option can be hard to defend. There is crazy stuff going on every single play with the triple option, trying to fool you, get your eyes looking somewhere else. So you got to stay focused defensively. And number 3 for Notre Dame is win the turnover battle. That is my 3rd key of the game for them. You do not want to be giving the ball to Navy and turning it over, especially in your own territory, because Navy's a team, they're going to have a hard time scoring. They run the triple option. Points aren't going to come fast or easy for them. But if you start turning the ball over in your own territory and giving them 30, 25 to 45-yard fields, they're going to put some points on the board. And then who knows what's going to happen with this game. So win the turnover battle, and it kind of goes back to my first one too, of just putting Navy out of it in the first half. Just, if you force a turnover or 2 in the first half and you're able to score off of them and really just grab a hold of the game and just completely dominate it, Navy's going to be beat by halftime. And if you can do that, then you're cruising, and you can, rest some guys and not worry about the injuries that are going to come from that. Now, for the last thing, is the things I'm watching for in this game. Number one, Notre Dame's offensive creativity with the new offensive coordinator and quarterback. Notre Dame hasn't been a bad offensive team over the last several years, but they haven't really been a creative team. They've just kind of been short passes and running the football. I want to see what kind of creativity they have with Sam Hartman, and how many, are they going to take any deep shots, stuff like that. I want to see. I want to see that kind of stuff, what the offense is going to look like from Notre Dame. I don't expect it to be too much different. I still expect them to be run heavy, but I want to see what kind of stuff is wrinkled in due to the fact that Notre Dame actually has a good quarterback in Sam Hartman this year. Number two and number three kind of go together. Number two is the triple option success for Navy. I'm interested to see how it works on this Notre Dame defense, how disciplined they are, how well Navy can move the football, because I think there will be a few drives in this game where Navy moves the football. I mean, you see my score prediction. I think they score 2 touchdowns. So, I think that it's a real possibility that Navy can move the football. Now, if that comes in garbage time or early on in the game, we'll have to see. But I do think that they will have some nice drives. And when the triple option is working and it's working right, it is so entertaining to watch. It's just so cool to watch back there. So that is something that I want to watch for. Number three kind of goes with that one. Notre Dame's defensive line play. How do they play against the triple option? What kind of are they getting into the backfield and making plays? Because that is the biggest question mark on this Notre Dame defense coming into the season is what is the D line play going to be? You have a very good secondary. Your linebackers seem to be good, just like they were last year. What does the defensive line look now that we've lost Foskey and some of our other guys over the last few years that have really made our defensive line great? So what does that look like? And so I'm excited to see that and just see how this D line plays against a Navy team that's going to go right at the defensive line. The defensive line and the linebackers are going to have a tough game. That they're going to have to play a tough game because Navy's going to run the ball right at you 99.99% of the time. So you got to be ready for that. I'm excited to see how the D line for Notre Dame responds and what they're able to do. But yeah, so my final score prediction is Notre Dame 41, Navy 17. That has them hitting the over of, I believe it was 50. So that has them hitting the over. But yeah, so that wraps up today's video. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Help us hit that goal of 1,150 subscribers by the end of September. Me and the football expert, should be streaming this game for you guys on Saturday. So make sure you guys subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can check it out and you won't miss that. But I appreciate all of you watching, and we will see you next time.